Welcome to Hanging with the Hoopers podcast. Enjoy this short spotlight with our panel guests who will be joining us at FNF's upcoming Energize Conference.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Hanging with the Hoopers podcast. Tim and Andrew Hooper, your hosts, where we believe the attitude of leadership is everything. It's defining, and it will make or break your company, your culture, and the longevity that you have in the marketplace. I'm excited though, because on the podcast today, as a quick teaser for our Energize Conference, January 17th and 18th in Columbia, Maryland, and Richmond, Virginia, we have Austin Zahrt, Angela Size, and Alex Brown, along with my brother Andrew Hooper. And we are bringing a panel discussion to Energize you don't want to miss. It's an afternoon panel. Right after David Bravo Jr. speaks, we'll be getting up to talk about this strategic process differentiation. You have strategic suppliers, you have strategic partners in your business. How are you leveraging them to take client relationships deeper and build trust in your marketplace? It's not as easy as it sounds. And for the last 45 minutes, we've kind of dry run what we're going to be talking about. So we're all going to go around here just briefly and share why you need to be in the room as an agency owner or as a business development branch managing attorney or anybody communicating to your realtor, your lender, or the end consumer, home buyer or seller. Why do you need to be in the room? Why do you need to understand your processes and your strategic partners and leverage them in this communication, in this differentiation? So let's kick this thing off. Alex, this is your brainchild. We, I think, talked about several months back, and you've put a lot of thought into this panel. So why don't I kick it over to you, man, and just kind of tee us up. What are we going to dig into?
Sure. I mean, this is really exciting for me because I'm a process geek. So anytime I have to talk about process and how things work operationally, I love it. But what I think is really exciting about this is that we're talking about a project you can take on as a company right now to improve your sales that doesn't really require you to go out and spend any money. We're talking about leveraging the resources, your operational process, in order to drive sales and to really create a differentiated customer service that's going to set you apart from your competitors. And all it's going to take is your time. And so I'm really excited for this group to talk about this with all of our kind of unique experience on different sides of the market, but also to dig into specific ways that you can go back to your company and really look at what you're doing, what's important to your customers, and create a way for you to go out and sell your services that is not going to, really break the bank in order to get it implemented. And I'm just really excited to have that conversation.
Yeah, to follow up on that, I would say one of the things that we always use is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And I think it's just for a title company and a law firm, anybody out there, is taking a position of thought leadership and being really clear on your value proposition as well to give you really a good sales success. I think also being super creative in your markets too. I think a lot of people go through this and they just, there's 20,000 plus title companies out there. They're just checking a box. I think it's, a point of thinking outside of that box and really being intelligent and thoughtful about how you're going to approach your different strategic partners, how you're going to approach your consumers to really drive an impact to your business on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, Tim and Andrew, for having me. I am so excited for Energize in January and excited to speak with Austin and Alex and Andrew, all of these A's. It's a lot. When I really think about what we're doing and as a market and as a group collectively, I think that if you really can lean on your strategic partners and use them as a resource to help with training, help with process implementation, help with, figuring out your strategy. And I have my famous 5 Ps, which is, proper planning prevents poor performance, and doing the work up front is going to, make it so much more rewardable, once it's implemented and executed.
Yeah. You all hit on a couple key things there. And Alex, I love that you talk about really defining process and defining what your client, I know we're going to get into this on the panel, but defining what your ideal client is, A, defining the sets of problems or pain points they typically have, B, and then Austin and Angela, you just hit the nail on the head. Now, once that's defined, what strategic partners are we bringing into the picture to help smooth out those pain points and those bumps in the road, so to speak. And once we've identified those strategic partners, those strategic vendors, or whoever they may be, how are we training, developing, and communicating in order to have successful rollout that creates buy-in and actually creates a seamless process? And I'm excited to dig into this topic because sometimes what's the phrase, Tim? It's ready, shoot, aim, right? And I think sometimes when we're rolling softwares and service providers around in our brains, sometimes we sign up, we do something, and then our realtor hates it or our client hates it, and we're not really having success like we envisioned, or we're not reinforcing. And then something else we talked about that we're going to get into is, how do you test? Like, once you create that really defining client experience, how do you test on the back end that you're delivering on it? So we're going to bring you some very specific strategies from the panel on how you can do that effectively and constantly be iterating to achieve a better result. Because if you're not constantly working towards something, you're probably falling further away from it. And so this is going to be a power-packed hour.
Yeah.
And Tim, chime in here because I see you chomping at the bit, bro.
Well, I'm not sure. I want to just throw it back to Alex real quick because we have a few minutes. Alex, you said something that was, to understand, to test if this actually works when we roll something out. I mean, you said we should be doing something every time, every transaction. Like, what is that, and how? And we'll dig into how we can do it different and better. But what is? I mean, you mentioned feedback, right? So why is that important?
I think it's important because a lot of times when people think about feedback, they think about it in a kind of a special project sense, right? Like, we're going to take on this big initiative. What should we do? Let's ask our realtors or our lenders or our transaction partners. But really, you have an opportunity to collect feedback every time you close a deal. A lot of the companies that I see doing the best, as far as, Andrew, that process iteration that you talked about, are ones that do a survey with every closing, maybe multiple times during a closing, or have a place where customers can go and offer advice as they see fit, not just, when they're prompted by the company. And it's really providing those channels to collect that information early and often. And then, as we were talking before we got on the recording, Angela was saying, and then doing something about it once you've got it, is really just so important, because people will tell you what they think of you, but you a lot of the time do have to ask. So just making sure that those channels are available and open and that they are being acted upon is really important.
That's great. Austin, one most creative thing you've ever seen, not to put you in a box, but you said thought leadership. I love that. And then just going into this market, the sluggish market, with creativity. Like, what does that mean?
I have one top of mind. I actually heard it at our summit. It was a couple of weeks ago. We had one of our customers that was on the panel from a large title agent down in Texas. And he said, PDFs in an email, they just don't do the job anymore. Nobody's looking at a PDF on an email. Hardly anybody feels safe to open that document anymore. So what he's actually done is he's created he said, we got to get the people that we're sending information out to, we got to get them really excited, and you got to have that instantaneous dopamine hit, right? And one of the things he compared it to is, like, what does everybody love right now? And that's TikTok. So what he's done is he's created a TikTok channel, and he's also created some like really short clips that he actually puts in his emails now. And through those introduction emails, whether it be, and he has different ones positioned for different partners and, consumers in the transaction, but he'll send out that email and it'll have a little custom message based around what the experience is going to be through this closing process, which is really cool. And he said it's been extremely impactful and super successful thus far.
That's thought leadership right there. Angela, we have a hard stop in a minute, but you said we grow together. Like, how do people need to, they need to be energized, but how do they need to leverage you guys on this panel and everybody who's a supplier to them to grow? Like, many hands make light work. What does that look like? How do they start?
It looks like taking the time to really reach out, collaborate with them, see what resources your strategic partners have available for you, for your team, and, get them involved. We are here to help. We want to help because we're all in this together, and together we grow.
Awesome. I love that. Well, to bring us home, folks, Austin, Alex, Angela, Tim, thank you all for being on today. We're excited. Again, January 17th in Columbia, Maryland, January 18th in Richmond, Virginia. Be there, get your tickets, let your teams know. It's going to be a power-packed day. Yeah. Take care, y'all, and we'll see you at the conference.
All right. Take care. Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.